Hey folks, welcome to the third hour of American Agenda. I'm Bob Sellers.
And I'm Heather Childers. We're joined by our family of co-hosts, GOP strategist and Newsmax columnist John Burnett, a Washington Times journalist and author of Socialists Don't Sleep, Cheryl Chumley, and attorney and Republican strategist Amanda Mackey. Welcome to everyone.
All right, President Biden addressing the nation last night on the anniversary of the coronavirus pandemic, kind of the official beginning, if you will, speaking for about 20 minutes. Maybe 25, taking no questions. Mr. Biden also giving no credit to former President Trump for Operation Warp Speed, which helped create the vaccines, the vaccinations, and taking credit for the vaccine rollout in its entirety. So let's see what our panel thinks about the Biden speech. John, what was your take on what went on last night?
I thought President Biden's speech was unifying and great. The way he started off. Good evening, my fellow Americans. Then it went all downhill from there. In terms of, him, I thought he was compassionate in terms of, his opening, acknowledging the deaths, even though he had to look at a card to remember the number. However, he did not give any credit to President Trump or even President Trump's administration. He didn't have to mention Donald Trump by name, right? But just actually clearly stating that we would be even further behind if we didn't have Operation Warp Speed, right? And there were some bumps in the road. He could have even clarified the fact that when he came in, they did have a good start. Because let's not forget, the Trump administration was near and sometimes crossed the 1 million vaccinations a day. Yeah. Right? So that bar was already about to be crossed before Biden came into office. Yeah, and that's a good point, John, because I think I've heard people say, oh, they were at 1 million a day, but the way you put it was exactly right. They crossed it some, so I mean, but it was trending upward, and it was definitely going to get there very quickly. Heather.
Yeah, I mean, I think that President Trump's the former president's last day in office, they reached 1.5 million vaccines. And so, like you said, it was definitely trending in that direction. Cheryl, I'll go to you now with your reaction to this. This is what President Biden said about the vaccine creation.
America is coming back. The development, manufacture, and distribution of vaccines in record time is a true miracle of science. It's one of the most extraordinary achievements any country has ever accomplished.
So Cheryl, why not, as John was just mentioning, at least acknowledge the Operation Warp Speed as a whole and the previous administration if you didn't want to name the former president?
Yeah, Joe Biden was not my candidate of choice, but had he come out and at least given a little hat tip to Donald Trump's administration for Operation Warp Speed, he would have gotten a little bit of respect even from me. And the fact is, Operation Warp Speed was praised by the likes of Anthony Fauci. It was praised by the likes of a former official with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It was praised by Moderna for jump-starting that private company's capacity to develop so many vaccines so successfully. So Joe Biden jumping aboard and giving just a little thumbs up, an awareness and recognition of the previous administration's contributions to fighting this pandemic, it would have gathered respect from even people who did not vote for him.
Yeah. Amanda, what was your take on the speech last night? What struck you?
Well, here's someone who promised unity. Here's someone who promised to bring the nation together. And he couldn't even mention President Trump's name. He couldn't even mention the administration, the former administration, and commend them, just give them a hat tip. He couldn't even bring himself to do that. What's interesting is just how political this is. Back in December, Biden actually did say, Trump should get some credit. Democrats did say Trump should get some credit. In fact, Dr. Fauci's boss, Dr. Collins, who heads up the NIH, he has said that Operation Warp Speed and what President Trump did should receive a lot of credit for where we are now with 3 vaccines on the market in less than a year. Yeah. It is nothing short of Nobel Peace Prize winning. I have said this all along. It normally takes 10 years to get vaccines to market like this. Yeah. And President Trump did it. President Trump deserves credit. And if you're truly wanting to be bipartisan and wanting to heal the nation, you say that.
Yeah, and
That's
as Eric
leadership.
Bolling pointed out last hour, is one of the things everybody knows, warp speed, okay, the money into its system and develop and the innovation of American companies, which is fantastic, but also created a market. Took away the risk, John, that you might create something and not have, where they're saying we will buy 100 million doses. So that part of the program is why they're distributing these vaccines now.
Absolutely. And what this cornerstone of all of this is President Trump's leadership. Oftentimes, we need that business mindset in DC, someone to set the tone, establish a vision, and make sure that all the impediments, the roadblocks, the bureaucracy is pushed out of the way. So that way the private sector can solve emergency situations. And that's exactly what President Trump did. Even though the pundits, the media, all those that hated him said it is impossible. And there's no more fuel for entrepreneur than to hear that something is impossible. And he actually guaranteed it. I wish they would have announced it before the election.
Yeah, Heather, one of the things that bothered me last night was the tone. Okay, I understand when he comes out, he's going to talk about how bad things are because he's going to be the solution. He's going to tell you how he's going to fix that. But I wanted to hear excitement. I wanted to hear, folks, we are going to get back to normal. Folks, you are going to go to the ball game. Yes, you're going to travel. Yes, you're going to see family. It was such a great opportunity because some things may be in line now. If you distribute these things properly, we can get back to normal because I got news for you. People are going to get back to normal.
Yeah, well, ordering vaccines is a far cry from, it's not the same as getting it done in record time, which is what the Trump administration was able to do. And you have to ask yourself, why didn't he take that opportunity, Bob, and be bipartisan and stress unity and talk about better things to come? Perhaps he knows because of this massive $1.9 trillion bill that he just passed into law, we're going to have some hard times ahead.
Well, I guess I feel like he lacks that Ronald Reagan panache, if you will. He lacks that ability to talk about the shining city on the hill. He doesn't get people fired up by that. He was almost going to let you see your family on the 4th of July if you do the right things. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to think, folks, we're heading into a roaring 20s. You're not going to believe how we come out of this. We got to go through some things together, but we're going to get there. Nothing like that.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we need the CDC to be telling us when we can hug our grandparents and when we have a barbecue in our backyard anyway.
I don't want to tell them the things I've done that I shouldn't be doing, okay? We're going to take a break right now with our panel.